Hey, it's Patrick Wilson.
Hello, this is Jeff Goldblum.
Hi, this is Alec Baldwin, and you're listening to Marta on the Move.
I'm your host, Marta Mazzoni. Join us as we connect culturally through lifestyle, travel, and entertainment. Hey all, welcome back to Marta on the Move podcast. I'm your host, Marta Mazzoni, and I am out of here. I leave probably today because I think this episode drops today on my month-long sailing retreats, but I wanted to get this episode out because I got a lot of questions about these past 5 months that Phil and I have been taking out alcohol, caffeine, and sugar out of our diets. And I've got a lot of questions about how we do it, why we do it, what the benefits are, what the challenges are, and I wanted to address those before I leave. And that is what this episode is all about. I'm just going to walk you through how we started getting into this. So if it's something that you are interested in trying, if you're just ready for a nice reset, a nice break, this is a great option. So I'll walk you through how we did it so you can introduce these things slowly into your habits instead of going like cold turkey. And also talk about some replacements that you can do. Like, you need to arm yourself with all of the replacements for alcohol, for sugar, for caffeine, and set yourself up for success. So I will talk about that as well. But before I do that, I would just like to mention our sponsor for this show, which is Open Road Bar Pittsburgh. Open Road Bar Pittsburgh is located in Allentown in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I have to tell you, I don't know if I would be able to make it these past 5 months without them. They are a retail shop specializing in non-alcoholic beverages. So from sodas, bitters, beers, spirits, they have a wide selection. And get this, guys, this was kind of the hook for me that got me, is that they offer tastings. So if you want to try that zero alcohol gin, but you really don't want to spend like $30 on it because who the heck knows what it's going to taste like, you can try it there. You can just roll on up, and they are very knowledgeable. They put up with my requests, which was zero sugar, so that's really hard to find when you remove the alcohol from things. Open Road Pittsburgh, located at 600 East Warrington Avenue, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15210. They are open for walk-in pickup and browsing at your leisure from Tuesday through Saturday, and then they ship all over the place. If you are in a different state, you can get any of their products. I currently am obsessed with the Gia or Gia product, however you pronounce it, GHIA, and they're one of the only places that I have found that have it. So head over to their website. It is openroadbarpittsburgh.com, or you can find them on Instagram at openroadbarpittsburgh. So happy that I have an outlet in my city to be able to go and find these non-alcoholic beverages, because to be fair, the city is a big sports city and it's all about tailgating. And as much as I love a nice cocktail or a nice glass of wine, it's really hard to find different options that taste good. And Open Road Bar Pittsburgh has all of the options. They got you covered, guys. All right, let's dig in. So, beginning with why or how Phil and I came about doing this reset. So about 6 years ago, after the holidays, we were feeling like crap. Things compound. Everything compounds, it feels like. And we started with this plan called Whole30, if you guys have heard of it, which basically eliminates certain carbohydrates out of your diet, regular white sugar, and you have no alcohol for 30 days. Seemed very hard back then. This was about 6-7 years ago that we did the 30 days, but we did it and we loved it, and we continued to add to it. So we started with 30 days one year. The next year we would do 40 days, and the next year we did 50 days, and then after that we did 60, and then 80, and this year was only supposed to be 100, but ding ding ding, we felt really great. We felt really incredible. So the days just kind of passed without us counting anymore, and we just passed 150 days. I think actually today, what the hell is today's date? Today's like 153 days. And that's amazing. That's 5 months of no sugar, no caffeine, no alcohol. And I will say for Phil, he added back in some caffeine and all that. But before we get all into that, I wanted to talk about why we do this. And I wanted to pause before we begin and just say to everyone out there, remind you all that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a guru, I'm just experimenting on myself and sharing the things that I found that I find interesting and that make me feel good with other people, and hopefully anybody out there that is curious about doing something like this, they will maybe get some information. So I'm not here to judge anyone for their choices. And also, please consult your health professionals before beginning any diet or change to your diets. That's all I have to say about that. Now we begin. Why do you do this to yourself? It sounds so extreme. I get this question all the time from people, like all the time. And the reason why I do that is because we as humans take breaks in life, in work, in our general daily habits. We break, we pause, we reset. So why shouldn't we do that for the things that compound and make us feel a little bit run down and a little bit bloated and all of that? That's how I was feeling personally. I was feeling bloated, I was feeling tired, I was feeling exhausted. And my relationship with the three of these substances is as follows. Sugar, for me, is really easy to give up because I have tried to eliminate it from my diet for many years. I try not to eat just regular plain old candy, sugar. I liked 100% dark chocolate anyways. So it's not that much of a hardship for me. Caffeine gives me anxiety. I love matcha, but matcha gave me a lot of anxiety, especially this past year with COVID and everything that was going on. I was realizing I was getting more anxiety than ever before. So I wanted to eliminate that to bring it back down to ground zero and see how I felt without it. And alcohol is the most complex relationship of all because Phil and I really don't drink a lot. We enjoy really great wine. We do. We love really great wine. We do. We love a well-made Negroni. And I will also say that our drinking has diminished over the years. It has shifted over the years to become less focused on the drink and more focused on the experience, I would say. One of the reasons why I really wanted to experiment giving up alcohol for this long also is because I was experiencing night sweats. Like, I'm talking soaked sheets, guys. Terrible, terrible soaked sheets. Like, if you are experiencing soaked sheets and you're wondering why, it's probably because of the alcohol, because your body's processing the sugar and the alcohol from your system in the middle of the night when you're trying to have restful and peaceful sleeping. It doesn't happen. Another thing that started happening for me is I would wake up at 3 a.m. like clockwork with a mouthful of just, I don't know, it just felt fuzzy and nasty, and I would be up and I would have to like wake up, go pee, go back to bed. It was such a disruption to my sleeping habits. And honestly, I've been sleeping great. And I'll talk about the benefits of all the things that have happened over these past 5 months, but teaser, I'm sleeping awesome. First, I wanted to take a look at the 3 things we removed from our diet. I already talked about some reasons why we removed them, but beginning with caffeine, and this is just me going to the internet, guys. So Medline Plus states, caffeine has many effects on your body's metabolism. It stimulates your central nervous system, which can make you feel more awake, give you a boost of energy. Yay. B is a diuretic, meaning it helps your body to get rid of salt and water by urinating more. Cool. C increases the release of acid in your stomach, sometimes leading to an upset stomach or heartburn. I've totally had that before. I forget what letter we're on. I think D may interfere with the absorption of calcium in your body, and E increases your blood pressure. Within 1 hour of eating or drinking caffeine, it reaches its peak level in your blood, and you may continue to feel the effects of caffeine for 4 to 6 hours. Here are some of the side effects of caffeine. For most people, it's not harmful to consume 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, but it could cause health problems such as restlessness, shakiness, insomnia, headaches, dizziness, fast heart rate, dehydration, anxiety, dependency. And some are more sensitive to caffeine than others. I, for example, am more sensitive to caffeine than other people. So I don't know if this has happened to you, but I started to notice it happened to me. I would drink like a decaf espresso or a matcha, and I wouldn't instantly get that energy boost. I wouldn't instantly get it. And I would actually find myself like yawning a little bit after drinking it. I would feel more tired. But later in the day, something would happen where my energy would shoot where I didn't want it to. When I was like winding down for the day, or maybe I needed a nap or something like that, my anxiety would be tied up in that. And I would feel it usually around, honestly, between like 2 and 4 p.m., which I call the witching hour. It's usually when you either need to meditate or need a nap. I'm speaking for me personally. You get restless. That's kind of that time period for us. And yeah, for me, I'm very sensitive to caffeine. So I don't know. If you're like me, maybe try this out and see how it goes for you. I'd even get like an upset stomach sometimes. All right, moving to sugar. I get on my soapbox about sugar. I kind of feel like it's a no-brainer. Everything we buy, I feel, has sugar in it. It has sugar in it. Everyone's lying to us. And according to healthline.com, why is it bad for us? We all know this. It can cause weight gain. It can increase your risk of heart disease. It's been linked to acne, increase your risk of type 2 diabetes, increase your risk of depression, of skin aging, of cellular aging, and increase your risk of cancer. So I have witnessed this firsthand and have heard it from many people, and I heard it from my sister's doctor. The moment that she got diagnosed with cancer, the doctor told her to stop eating sugar. Period. Like, it wasn't like, hey, maybe you should cut back on the sugar. It was like, no. Eliminate it from your diet, because cancer cells feed on sugar. And you know what has sugar? Everything that we buy. literally anything that you buy from the grocery store has sugar. Turn it around, check a label. It's going to be there, especially if it says no added sugars. I trust zero labels. I turn into a crazy person about this subject because it makes me so mad that you shouldn't have to police everything that you buy from the grocery store, but you really have to now. Anything that says natural, anything that says no sugar added, I'm like, I don't believe you until I turn around and read the nutritional facts myself and also see exactly what type of sugar you are using. Are you using cane sugar? Are you using monk fruit? Are you using allulose or a sugar substitute? What's going on? Because I want to be involved in what I put inside my body. Sugar is terrible for you, but I don't know. To me, it's a no-brainer. We know it's bad for you. We know it causes cancer and diabetes and obesity, but still, it's everywhere. I don't know. Anyways, sorry, I go nuts about it. It just makes me really mad. And after losing my sister, it's I'm not blaming sugar directly, but when it's the first thing your doctor says, it's like, oh, why aren't you telling everyone this? And it's like, oh, we already know, but there's, nothing we can do about it. Anyways, I digress. Moving on to alcohol. According to Healthline, long-term effects of frequently drinking alcohol include persistent changes in mood, including anxiety and irritability, insomnia and other sleep concerns, a weakened immune system, meaning you might get sick more often, changes in libido and sexual function, changes in appetite and weight, problems with memory and concentration, difficulty focusing on tasks, increased tension and conflict in romantic and family relationships. So this list doesn't really even touch about short-term problems that alcohol brings, or long-term, the breakdown of white and gray matter in our brains, which I've been researching, and it'll scare the hell out of you if you go down that wormhole. There's a lot, honestly, I didn't know about alcohol. I suspected, but I didn't know. And it's a really touchy subject for a lot of people. For me, for years, it was a touchy subject. I bet for a lot of people, they may have even stopped listening to this podcast or reading this blog post because they don't want to look at their alcohol habits, which I get. I don't blame them. I was totally in their shoes. In the past, if I heard a friend was giving up or taking a break from alcohol, I would instantly become defensive of my own habits. I would maybe say something like, oh man, do you really have to give it up? Can't you just cut back? How come you're not drinking at the party? Oh, that's no fun. Like, I would say those things. I remember saying those things. Now, when people say those things to me, I'm on the other side of it where I realize when I was saying those things to them, it was A, the alcohol talking, and B, my own insecurities about my relationship with alcohol, and C, my fear of things that I knew were changing. People changing. Experiences changing. It's a scary thing. I've had multiple people say these statements to me when I do my reset. Suddenly, everybody has an opinion about you not drinking. And I don't blame them. Once again, I don't blame them because I see now how it does mess with your heads. And I love wine culture. It took a lot for me to post about this because I get asked about it a lot. But I'm still figuring out my relationship with alcohol. And that's all it is. I want to improve it. I want to be more knowledgeable about it. Like, I know it's bad for me, but I don't drink a lot of it. And when I am drinking, I'm very aware of what I'm drinking, but I hate the way it makes me feel afterwards. And that's kind of the key thing that I'm learning about myself. It's not really what I'm doing during, it's how I feel after the activity of what I'm doing. It's a really hard conversation to have. And for anyone out there that is feeling the way that I am feeling, that wants to shift their relationship with alcohol, I hope this finds you, and I hope you know that there are people out there just like you who really love a really expensive bottle of Pinot Noir, and they just want to make their relationship better with the substance, or try on what it feels like to not have it for a while. And that's what I'm doing right now. So, next question. What did you substitute with? What did you add in after you took out these things? Let me tell you, it was a challenge. And to try something like this, you need help. Help. You need alternatives at the ready, and set yourself up to succeed. And believe me, there are alternatives out there. There's so many great resources, but it took me years to find them. When I first started doing this, I had like nothing. Like I had club soda, and that was it. Or I had just don't have any sugar substitute, or have no caffeine at all. Like nothing. So here's some of the things that I have found that make this honestly a breeze to get through. And here we go. All right. Stepping into sugar substitutes. So I suggest for people that want to do that, spending the first 2 weeks or the first week avoiding all sugar or sugar substitutes, because it just is a complete reset and detox for your body. Even if you start subbing sugar substitutes, your brain gets like a dopamine hit when you get those, and they do crave more. They will crave more of them. So removing them all, you can really feel what it's like to not have any sugar cravings whatsoever. Like to not even care if there's dessert after your meal. It happens. It's real. It's a real Narnia place. And I promise you, because I've been there, and it feels so good to have control over your body and your cravings. So after about 2 weeks, I started to introduce, shout out to Jen Herford for introducing me to monk fruit sweetener. It doesn't spike your blood sugar levels as much. And I also started to introduce some fruits very minimally, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. Those were the sugar substitutes that I predominantly used for the past 5 months, and I used them very sparingly. I didn't have a lot of them. I will say Rebel ice cream has been a crutch. So I try not to keep it in my house because I love it. I love it so much. It's so good. And it's, it uses monk fruit sweetener, so it doesn't have any of the sugars in it. All right, let's go. I'm saving alcohol for last because that list is real long of the stuff that I replaced it with. But caffeine. So as I said before, Phil is indulging in some caffeine. I'm the one that's crazy and went all in. I go all in. That's what I do. I would substitute with some chocolate, which some people listening to this are like, haha, you had caffeine. Which chocolate does have a minimal amount of caffeine. I would have either 100% dark chocolate, but I would not have a lot of it. Maybe like a tiny, tiny bite. Or I would get Lily's chips, which are also made with, I think it's, I don't know how to say it, so excuse me. It's like erythritol. It's another sugar substitute. That's a plant-based sugar substitute. And I would have like a couple of those, and that would give me a little bit of a boost. and I would notice how my anxiety would flare up. Something else I used in addition was mushroom. Mushroom ground up. I would make that instead of coffee. And I'm on a keto diet right now, and I have been for the past 5 months. So I would blend that with my butter with a little bit of monk fruit, and it's delicious. Like, honestly, it's so good. And mushrooms are apparently really, really good for you. So, and they kind of give you the sense that you're having a coffee style beverages. As far as food goes, I'm on, like I said, the trying to be on before I leave for this trip, the medical keto diet. Phil stuck mainly with the Whole30 model, which was like no complex carbs, no white flour, sugar. Mine was a limitation on how many carbs I could have per day, which was 20 grams. Fat was 80 grams, and protein was 25 grams. And typical dishes that we would have would be like pork belly with steamed broccoli, a nice cut of steak, chicken thighs, veggies, large salads. It was pretty simplistic, but honestly very filling once you get into it. Peanut butter, just regular peanut butter without any oils or sugar in it, just ground up peanuts, were also a crutch of mine. I would have like 2 tablespoons in the evening. It's delicious. I don't care. You have to take your highs when you get them, and that was my treat. All right, moving on to alcohol. What did we substitute for alcohol? Okay. Number 1, hibiscus tea. And I'm talking bulk hibiscus tea. I would buy it. I found 5 pounds for like $35 on Amazon. Yeah, I'm like that. It's amazing. It's whole flower hibiscus tea from Amazon. 5 pounds goes really quick when you make as much hibiscus tea as we make. I would make it as iced tea, and brew it in really large batches and make it cold. I would freeze ice cubes out of it. It's amazing. It has 0 sugar, but it's tart and it's vibrant and it's delicious. I can't say enough about it. I honestly don't know how I would get through these past 5 months without it, and now it's a crutch. I'm actually taking a bag of it overseas. I hope that they don't mistake it for something else, honestly, and because it looks a little suspicious, but I want it while I'm out there, while I'm on the boat. I'm gonna brew some cold hibiscus tea while I'm staring at the Mediterranean Sea and the Ionian Sea. Yes, that is going to happen for me. Number 2 were hop teas. If you guys have ever heard of these, they're from a company out of Boulder, Colorado called Hoplark, and I am so in love with these beverages. They're 0 calories, they're 0 sugar, and they infuse their teas with all different hops. And some of them don't even have teas. They're just sparkling water with like Mosaic and Cascade and Citra hops. And I used to brew beer. Phil and I used to brew beer, and we were big barley wine and double IPA fans, which I don't like really drink that much beer anymore. But these teas scratch this itch without having the bloating and maltiness behind them. I'm addicted to them. I love them. We actually wanted to learn how to make them ourselves, but I don't think we can. I don't know. I don't think we can get there. We do still have like all the brewing equipment and the tanks. We're like, oh, we could try and like do these hop teas ourselves and hit them like maybe even on nitro. But honestly, it might just be easier to go buy these. They're delicious. Try them out. You can buy them direct from the company. The only other place I've seen them in Pittsburgh, where I am, is Whole Foods. Target says they have them, but every time I go there, they don't have them. If you know other places that sell them, let me know, because I'm tired of going to Whole Foods. It's very expensive. Another staple that we found is some non-alcoholic beers. So when you want something with a little bit more heaviness to it, a little bit more bite on a summer day, the only brand that I have found that meets my requirements for low carb, no sugar is a company called Brewdog out of Ohio. And they're Brewdog alcohol-free beers, and they are so good. I actually went to my first Dungeons and Dragons campaign recently, and I feel like I tricked the guests because they couldn't believe that they were alcohol free, especially my friend Adam. He was like, "These are alcohol free. I can't believe it. They're amazing. I would never know. I would never know that they're alcohol free, and they're hoppy." I have tried most of them, and the Elvis alcohol-free grapefruit hoppy beer is my favorite. That's my all-time favorite. So go try one of those. They're really good. The next product that I found that I really love, I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, is called Gia or Gia, Ghia. It's an entire Italian-inspired drink that is packed full of flavor. Like, think bitter grapefruit blast in your mouth. The first time I tried it, I thought there was alcohol in it. I would order this drink as a cocktail at a speakeasy and be in love with it. That's how much I like it so much. It is low sugar, but it's not sugar free. I think it has 9 grams per small can. And a shout out to the Vandal in Pittsburgh because they had it on their menu, and that's the first time I tried it. I was really excited, and then I realized that Open Road Bar Pittsburgh had it, and then I got really excited and went up there and bought all of them. All right. Talked about caffeine, talked about food. Oh, this is fun. So this is the next part of one of the reasons why we give up all these things. And it's also has to do with what we substitute, like our time. Like what do you do with your time if you're not meeting friends for happy hour or going to a wine tasting or opening up a bottle of wine after work? What are you doing? So I put a category on this blog post, which is activities. And this is where this whole experiment starts to get really interesting. When we first started years ago, we noticed immediately that giving up these things, especially alcohol, we now had a lot of free time on our hands. It's like we gained so many hours back in our lives that were normally spent opening a bottle or two of wine with friends or with dinner. Everything kind of shifted. And this was hard. Like, really hard. And honestly, really scary a little bit. Because you're forced to sit with the fact that you have to do something else. You have to reassess what you're doing with your time. And it can feel awkward and restless. I mean, it's scary. You start to look at, how are you spending time together with your spouse? How are you spending time with yourself? Because alcohol is a distraction and it also numbs you of your feelings. And once you kind of take it away, you are really forced to sit with those things, to sit with those emotions, to sit with those feelings, and figure out how you really feel. And that is intimidating. It is a lot. Phil and I have learned so much about ourselves the past couple years, and a ton in these past 5 months, taking this long break. And we're just starting to rediscover ourselves. How did we do that? We took this opportunity to spend some meaningful time together and learn and try new things. And so that included years ago when I forced Phil to take salsa dancing lessons. Then we took Italian lessons. We began going to yoga in the evening. And we took drawing classes. Now we're taking improv classes. If you guys have listened to my podcasts, the past couple of podcasts, I'm all about improv, and my next podcast coming up after this is actually talking about how and why improv can increase communication and playfulness in your life. So yay, you're going to get more of that. You're going to hear all about improv in the next episode, which is dropping while I'm away, by the way. Just a little teaser out there. But coming back to the activities, this was the fun experiment that we found. We gained so much time back in our lives. I can't even tell you. And I could spend this entire podcast talking about all of these subjects, about how it forced us to take a look at ourselves and look at the parts we didn't like and look at the parts that we were running away from, and the bits and pieces that make up who we are and what we like to do now. Not resting on our laurels of what we used to like to do. Like, just in our 20s, just sitting around drinking. It's kind of boring, actually, guys. It's kind of boring. Now it is. Back then, I had a blast, whatever. But it's boring to me now. I need more. I need more stimulation. And I need, I don't know, something more meaningful. Next question. What challenges did you come up against during this time? So I already touched on the challenge of other people's attitudes towards this reset. It struck a nerve with a lot of people. And I will say this is not for everyone. It may not be for you at all, and that is totally fine. But it was good for my body, and I know what's good for it. Achievement unlocked. And I think that's one of the hardest things we as humans try to discover, like knowing what is good for our bodies and minds and using our intuition to follow that. We're often distracted and swayed and frankly full of substances to notice. So some of the obvious challenges were the alcohol cravings that needed to pass. That probably took about 3 days. It takes 4 to leave your body. It takes actually 4 days for alcohol to leave your body, and that's not even completely. It takes like months, they say, to leave alcohol to leave your body. Sugar cravings were the worst part to get past, honestly, because once you eliminated alcohol is 100% sugar. That's what it is. Your body metabolizes it as sugar. So the sugar cravings were the worst to get past. That took about a week, I would say, at least a solid week. All right. So yeah, those were honestly the main challenges. Boredom was definitely a challenge. You have to get clever with what you're eating, clever with what you're doing, clever with your activities and how you spend your time. Plan it out. Plan your dive and dive your plan for success. It is so true. Moving on, what were the benefits of doing this? There were a ton. I already mentioned the night sweats. They completely disappeared. I had a sneaky suspicion it was that glass of wine that I had in the evening. And I was right. That suspicion is correct. I don't get any more night sweats. They are gone. Better sleep? Absolutely. Clearer skin, mental clarity. For the first few days, I had a lingering headache and a bit of a brain fog, and then it just lifted. And now my mind is like super sharp and it keeps getting better. My focus is like laser focus. But one of the best things that has happened is I'm getting so many more memories that are flooding back to my system. Memories I didn't think I would ever remember. Memories from my childhood. It's honestly incredible. I think, not to get too personal, but I think we block a lot of things. There's a lot of child trauma, at least for me, and we block memories. And I don't know, my mind is kind of like a treasure box now. So I keep remembering random thoughts and moments from my life. And honestly, that has been such a gift after Nina passing, because I'm remembering like when I was like 6 and 7 and 8 years old, like really, really young, these specific memories. It's so cool. Yeah, and it's so unexpected. I didn't expect that at all. That was a really cool, side effect of doing this experiment. Less bloating, more confidence. Yay! My clothes are fitting better. My face is more radiant. My eyes are clearer. My skin is clear, and I feel lighter. I don't do these resets to lose weight, although that is an effect that it has. I'm the type of person, I want to walk in my closet and I want to be able to wear what I want to wear and feel confident and comfortable. Comfort is key for me. It is unbelievably important. So, yeah, this allowed me to do that. I feel just less bloated. And then the last one is my creativity is soaring. Phil and I's creativity is crazy right now, because instead of opening up a bottle of wine, we are doing something creative with our evenings, like having a non-alcoholic beer and drawing, or doing improv sets, or going to classes, or taking a walk, or going to, a play or something. It's really cool. We love it. The different activities are really, really stretching our brains, and they're finding new ways that we can play together and communicate together. It's really cool. I liked it. What else? Where do we go from here? This is the last part that I wrote about in this blog post, and it's the biggest question that I get asked. What do we do now? When this comes out, I'll be on day 155. I did recently have a decaf espresso because I was over 150 days, and I was pleased to say that my mind was all right for that day. It didn't affect me as much as I thought it would, so small doses, cool. Sugar for me, I'll continue to leave out of my diet as much as I possibly can, but I'm going to Italy and I know the gelato is there and it's waiting for me, but that's okay because it will be a treat and I won't abuse it, and then I'll come home and I'll reset again. I know there's going to be slip-ups. I know sugar snuck into like every restaurant meal outside of our house, but I will try my damnedest to keep it from my diet. And as for the most complicated and last one, my relationship with alcohol, that's exactly what it is, a relationship. I'm just trying to have a better one with it. I'm heading to Greece and Italy. I'm honestly a little bit nervous about drinking over there because I haven't had a drink in so long. But I am giving myself some slack, and I know that before this, alcohol wasn't the main focus in my life anyways. And I know this reset that I'm doing is always here for me, and I've been doing it, and then I can return to it. And if I have a glass of wine in Italy, I'll make it an amazing glass of wine and leave it at that. End of story. If I don't drink during the trip, how cool is that I'll be able to experience a new place without having it dimmed or numbed, and just experience it in a new way. Either way, the whole point is changing my relationship to these substances, doing this reset, doing this challenge. It's a nice way to allow some perspective into your life. And side note, I personally will become really, really excited when more restaurants and experiences incorporate these different options for those people that are on these restrictions, by choice or not by choice. And especially alcohol. I might do a feature when I return home specifically on restaurants in Pittsburgh area serving elevated mocktail options, not just like club soda and lime, but like really, really cool options for that to include everybody that goes out. I think that'll be really fun. So yeah, wow, long-winded. Sorry guys. But I hope this answers some of your questions. I hope I touched on some of the questions you had for me, and I hope I inspire someone out there to know that they are not alone. You are not alone. If anybody ever wants to talk about this subject, I am always open. I also have to plug this Facebook group that I'm a part of called Sober Curious. I really love this group because it's a group of people that are just like the title, sober curious. Maybe they're not completely sober, like maybe they're just curious about limiting their alcohol and finding different mocktail recipes and things like that. And it's just a very encouraging group, and I highly recommend it if you are curious. So what about you guys? Any interest in a reset? I would honestly love to know your experience with this, and get back to me. Shoot me an email, shoot me a text. I am flying out today. I should be in the air maybe as this podcast releases, and I'll be back in a month. I am really excited about my sailing retreats, and I will be excited to report back on them whenever I return home. Once again, this episode is sponsored by openroadbarpittsburgh.com, bringing non-alcoholic beverages to Pittsburgh, having a thriving online retail store offering local delivery, shipping elsewhere, and hosting virtual events. Do not forget that they have a tasting room. It is so cool to be able to walk in there and try some different alcohol-free spirits and things like that. And they're super knowledgeable. Check them out at Open Road Bar Pittsburgh, 600 East Warrington Avenue, Pittsburgh, PA 15210. All right, people, I'm out of here. Check me out. Twitter at I Can't Find Marta, martaonthemove.com. Sign up for my newsletter. I'll be letting everyone know if I host a meditation or a live virtual class from overseas. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Keep it moving, everybody.